What's up, guys? Rick here with your preview for this week's Houston Open, where we will use data, logic, and reason to break down the golf course, the players that will play on said golf course, and everything else that we can think about for this week. Let's just not waste any more time and jump right into it. Okay, let's start with the golf course, Memorial Park. It is, this event has had kind of an interesting recent history. Obviously, the Houston Open goes back for, decades, but just recently, Memorial Park, which is a municipal, it's a public course, you can play it. Last time I checked, it was like a $50 tee time, which is great. It was redesigned in 2019. Tom Doak, Brooks Koepka, remember that? And we've played 3 years of this event since they moved it back to Memorial Park post redesign. Now, the kind of the bigger thing for this week is we're playing it in March. If you're not aware, it's March. This event was normally played during the swing season, which was like a November or October date. And now that we've gone back to the year long, the calendar year season, or whatever they want to call it, it's now in March. So I pulled up the satellite imagery. So what you're looking at right now is this is satellite imagery from last month. It's from February. You can actually see the grandstands are already almost complete or going up and all that stuff. Remember, it's a municipal golf course, right? There is a lot of acreage of rough here. There's not a lot of penalty for missing wide. Yes, there are some tree-lined-ish holes, not necessarily tree-lined, but maybe you can get into some trouble, but they're not always in play for the PGA professionals. This is a pretty wide open golf course, and you can see, look at the dormant, the next cut of rough essentially is what that is. It's dormant this time of year, right? You see that in a lot of places like Vegas or Arizona, like there's just that second layer. So when I look at this both on the satellite image and also on the course key stats page, RickRunGood.com, I see a golf course that accuracy, not super important off the tee. I like I like guys who are going to be able to hit it far. I like guys that are going to be able to putt well. These are larger than average greens, 7,000 square feet. So what ends up happening is you get more 3-putts on larger greens. 3-putt avoidance is actually one of the highest rated stats for this week. And I'm not putting a ton of weight into this specific correlation model. Not only because we only have 3 years of history, but because of the change in time of year, I'm probably going to go more with eye test, right? Things that we know no matter what are going to be good stats. You're talking about like obviously strokes gained total. You're talking about distance over accuracy. You're talking about approach play, throwing out ranks. Approach play is always one of the most critical. Obviously, strokes gained total is highly correlated to success as well. So I'm just kind of using this as a reference, not really using it as gospel for this week. If you want to look at who are the best players in adjusted fit, so taking those numbers from the top, if you do weigh them more than I do, and looking at the last 36 rounds of everybody in this field, Scottie Scheffler gets the biggest adjusted fit. Every golf course in the world is probably a good spot for Scottie Scheffler. Sahith, Wyndham Clark, Beau Hossler, Jason Day. Mackenzie Hughes is actually on here as well. Ben Griffin, last 36. And then you can look at where these approach shots come from, and they are a pretty even distribution of shots, at least close to tour average, which is, your 150, 175, 200 plus shots. Again, we're not probably going to dive into too much of this, of like the individual stuff. We're going to try to use tee to green and strokes gained total and some bigger, better stats, just because of a lot of the unknowns or a lot of the differences that we might get for this week. All right, here's the cheat sheet. RickRunGood.com. What do you see right out of the gate? Scottie Scheffler's $13,000. They've done it. Okay, so $13,000 down to $5,000. If anybody deserves this, it is Scottie. If you start going through some of the most expensive salaries in my database since I've been tracking this, we are in historic territory here. 13,000 rarely happens, and when it does, it happens actually I don't have it happening anywhere outside of the Tour Championship, which is the staggered start. So yeah, we're talking some pretty high end pricing here. Now DraftKings does offset that with going down to 5,000, and it's Scotty Scheffler, and there is a decent gap between Scheffler at 13,000, Wyndham Clark at 10,900. So just want to put that out there. If you're also looking at Scotty's betting odds, this morning anywhere from 330 plus 330, 3.3 to 1, maybe 3.5 to 1. That is, again, historically low in modern times or post Tiger Woods times in a full field event. Sure, you could have found maybe some guys at 5 to 1 for the Hero World Challenge. John Rahm was 3.5 to 1 at the Mexico Open one year. DJ was like 3 to 1 at Pebble Beach, but he withdrew before the tournament started. So we've seen this a few times, but very few, very rare. The expectations and numbers being given to Scotty Scheffler right now are significant. So the question is, can you afford him, or can you afford not to have him? We don't need to spend a lot of time and energy on Scotty, who is gaining an insane amount of strokes from tee to green over the last 2 years. And all of a sudden now with new mallet putter in hand has gained strokes each of the last 2 events in which he has won both of those. One was the Players Championship. One was the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So we're talking about 2 massive signature events in both of those. He is obviously a Texas guy. He has played the Houston Open. So this is also weird too. So the way that you see this, so technically the way that I'll do this for this week, 2022 is that's last year. That was the most recent, right? It went from, because we switched the way the calendar works, it's very confusing. 2022 would have been last year's event, right? And then 2021, 2020, going back, right? It's just weird because I use season here. So, Scotty Scheffler played this event in November of 2022. There was not an event in November of 2023, this past swing season, because they were moved to March, right? So I'm trying to convince myself of this and wrap my brain around this as I explain it to you. The last edition of the Houston Open, Scotty played it. He finished T9. He lost 2 strokes putting. The time before that, he also played it T2. So he's played it each of the last 4 years, back-to-back top 9 finishes. He has actually putted pretty well here in the past. A 0 week, a +3 week, and then 2 weeks where he lost 2 strokes putting. Honestly, with him losing 2 strokes putting, that might not even be a deterrent for him to find contention again this week. So this is not really a conversation to be had about Scotty Scheffler and whether you should play him or not. We'll know what the projected ownership is going to be for him on Wednesday during the live chat, 3 p.m. Eastern time, Rick Run Good YouTube channel. But also when we get down to the 6K range, when we get down to the 5K range, is there a path to getting Scotty Scheffler in your lineup without having to, mortgage the future, sacrifice the rest of your lineups? The interesting part about this is the rest of the 10K range I find really fascinating, right? You've got Wyndham Clark at 10,900, Sahith Theegala at 10,300, and Will Zalatoris at 10,100. So this is not a lone wolf situation where Scotty's by far the best player in the field and there's no one else. Yes, Scotty is by far the best player in the field, but Wyndham Clark I think is great for this week. Sahith is great. Will Zalatoris, great, right? So, I'll be interested to see what happens if are we going to get a 40% on Scotty Scheffler? I don't know the answer to that. Wyndham Clark, if Scotty didn't win the last 2 weeks, Wyndham Clark went back-to-back runner-up finishes, right? So it's guys, if we had 2 different winners, not named Scotty Scheffler at those 2 events, we'd be foaming at the mouth to get a guy who is coming off back-to-back runner-up finishes, who putts beautifully, who also won a signature event earlier this year, whose one issue is that he sprays it off the tee, but he's very long. I don't really care about that. Then he turns into an elite second shot player who putts well, who avoids the 3 putts. He scores at a prolific rate. Yeah, this is a really, really good spot for Wyndham Clark. But the guy that I think is going to finish second to Scotty Scheffler is Sahith Theegala. And take this with a little bit of a grain of salt. I have been very bad at handicapping Sahith. I never seem to get him right. He's just been a very confusing golfer for me. So, you can listen or you cannot. I don't really care either way. He has got 3 top 10 finishes in his last 4 starts. He has 4 top 20s in his last 5. He has turned into a much more consistent golfer, and this year has been great for him. He won the Fortinet in September, finished runner-up at the Century, and then of course he's got those most recent finishes that I was referring to in big time events: Phoenix, API, Players. This is going to be a much weaker field than all of those. So we've got that going for him. We've got the fact that he's a Houston resident now. Okay. So this should feel pretty comfortable for him. He's played the Houston Open. Whoops. Misclick. He has played the Houston Open twice, 22nd and T61. What does he do well? He putts beautifully. He's turned into a pretty sound second shot player. He hits it far. He sprays it. Guess what? You can spray it here. The other thing, and this is now, I'm deep in this right now, right? Like I'll go deep into this, but this is a golf course that, on Thursday the rough is probably going to be an inch and a half. The rough is not penal. It is not long. On golf courses in which rough is 2 inches or lower or shorter, the best players in this field are Scotty Scheffler, Sahith Theegala. And then it's also like a bunch of guys who spray it. Let me see if I can pull this up for you real quick. Okay, here it is. So this is actually going in my newsletter for this week, rickrungood.com/newsletter if you want to get it in your inbox. But that's why it looks so weird the way I'm showing it to you, because I clipped this image. We're talking about over 90 rounds for both Scotty Scheffler and Sahith on those short or no rough golf courses. Look at the other names up here. The other guys, so you'd probably be like, okay, well, yeah, Scotty always plays well. It doesn't matter. Sahith is, over 10,000. Yeah, I agree. But look at the other names. Bo Hostler, Victor Perez, Tony Finau, Akshay Bhatia, Jason Day, Wyndham Clark, Tom Hoagie, Steven Yeager. I mean, this list is kind of sprayers, right? So that passes the sniff test for me, that guys that are not necessarily accurate off the tee are playing well on golf courses where the rough is least penal, right? That makes sense to me. So when you add that up with the recent form, the Houston stuff, the history, the eye test, the course fit, the stat, ways I can cut that up. Yeah. I think Sahith is in for a pretty good week. And then Will Zalatoris, I'm buying that stock every which way. My access to him will probably be, field average, right? I want to probably be overweight on Sahith. If Wyndham Clark comes in just completely underowned, I'll love to get some access to Wyndham Clark. I'll probably just have to end up matching the field on Zalatoris, because I can't be overweight on all of these guys. The 9K range. Very small. Finau, Siwoo Kim, Jason Day, Alex Noren, Keith Mitchell, Tom Hoagie. This is a significant drop-off to me, right? I said it's not Scotty and the rest of the field, but there is, to me, a big 4, and it's those guys in the 10K range. Finau is an enigma. I was excited, and I want to pull up his stat profile and see what he did last week at the Valspar. I know he missed the cut, but I want to see what the putting numbers were, because this is a great spot for him. And this is a good spot on paper and a good spot in reality. I am starting to get a little bit concerned now that we've got 2 straight events in which he has lost strokes off the tee. That is incredibly rare for him, and losing a significant portion. Both of those are Florida golf courses with water all over the place. I could pull, maybe I'll do this for Wednesday. I'll go back and look at his shot by shot stuff and see, how many balls he hit into the water, because that would inflate these numbers. You can get away with a lot more here at Memorial Park, because there isn't water on every single hole. The penalty for missing the fairway is not as big. So maybe I've been too gentle with Tony, and I don't know why. I'm not like a huge Tony Finau stan, but I've been a little bit gentle on trying to be early, seeing I was seeing the trends. Maybe I'm writing off too much of, two bad events. Both of them happen to come in Florida on different styles of golf courses than what he's going to play this week. Maybe I'm being too generous, but he won here. He actually has at Memorial Park more strokes gained per round than anybody who's played it at least 3 times. He missed the cut in 2021 and still was able to post that number. So just a big win here the last time we saw this event. But I just truly, I'm having trouble figuring him out, and I will probably, as a glutton for punishment, go back to him again this week. The most interesting play, though, I think is Jason Day. So he popped up on that, the guys who spray it, right? He is also one of the top players in Texas, if you want to go with that narrative as well. I know Texas is a big state, and we play golf and all over it, right? But that is also a thing. He won what? Byron Nelson last year. And the short game is really stout, which if you do like the model, so 3 years of modeling with, Memorial Park, it loves short game stuff. It loves putting. It loves around the green. He sprays it fine. His Florida stuff wasn't great, but his starts before that were at Riv and Pebble Beach. Again, I think there's a pretty significant drop off. Normally in the 9K range, you feel a lot better about these guys. I've got reservations about Tony Finau. I've got reservations about Jason Day. Both of them, I still think I will end up being overweight on compared to the rest of the field. You'd also be really interested to see what happens with Keith Mitchell's ownership for this week. We'll look at it over the course of the last couple of weeks. So he was 10.5% owned at the Players. That's pretty big for that field. 10% owned at Valspar. He has not been he's been between 10 and 15% for each of his last 4 starts. Those who backed him last week are obviously going to have just a horrible taste in their mouth after he lost 5.6 strokes in Sunday's final round. The Players Championship on the weekend, he coughed it up both of those days. Lost 5.7, lost 4.9. Maybe Keith Mitchell's a great showdown play. Maybe he's a great first round leader play, but he's playing outside of 3 horrible rounds, which happen to be in the biggest high pressure leverage spots. He's playing great golf. If you can forget about the rest of that. And I don't know if I can, but we'll see what the industry does with that. Before we get to the 8K range, the contests on Splash are up right now. So there's 2 this week, but you might not be able to get into one. So this one is the free roll that we did last week. So if you entered my March Madness contest, you are automatically entered into this free roll. Okay, so you have 1 entry for every lineup that you had, and this is where I'm giving out subscriptions to RickRunGood.com for the top 100 people. Splash is putting cash up, and they're doing Splash swag, so they're like that. That'll be a fun little free roll that they have going on right there. That's awesome, but you had to get in last week. The tiers contest is back already. I mean, this thing just got posted. It's 10% full already. This is guaranteed. This will fill. This is great. You just pick 1 golfer from each one of the tiers. And then spoiler alert, we are getting ready to do a major championship contest, which will be really cool to start. I mean, it's two events and then the Masters, right? So this stuff is happening. If you want, I'm going to ask you to start getting into some of the major championship stuff here soon. Which will be really cool. But head over, get in and logged in on Splash. There's a link in the description so you can sign up for all of this stuff and get rocking and rolling. Should be a good time. The 8K range. So, a couple of interesting names here. Bo Hostler, okay? Bo is going to make or break a lot of these lineups. He's got good course history, a 2nd in 2018, a 13th in 2019, but 2 missed cuts after that. He had great recent form, 2 missed cuts in his last 2 starts. He's got a good course fit, but, doesn't always live up to that, right? For every good thing you can say about Bo, you can probably offset it with a negative. I would not be at all surprised to see Bo contend. I would not be surprised to see him miss the cut. A very ugly run at the Players and the Valspar for him. The struggles on approach just were too much to overcome. Still drove it well, still putted it well. We've got to get that second shot figured out. If we can get that figured out, he is in play. I think this is one of the better spots for him. If you want to go with the Texas narrative, fine. Played his college golf in Texas. I think he lives. I don't even know if he lives there. I think he lives in California. Grew up in California. I don't know where he lives now, but if you like the Texas Longhorn thing, you can do that as well. I just think that he's your slate breaker, right? He's either gonna contend and be low owned, or he's gonna miss the cut and destroy you. Remember our good friend Nate? I almost called him Nate Jap. Jake Knapp. Wow, my brain fried already on a Monday morning. Jake Knapp, okay, just blows up on the scene at the Mexico Open, then finishes fourth at the Cognizant, and then has himself a Saturday at API where he burns like multiple balls in the water, loses 8 strokes in that single round alone, and then he kind of bounced back. He made the cut at the Players Championship. He played already. He had a couple of big numbers. Get this dude away from water, right? Get this dude away from the big number potential. That's where we're at. Think about the crossovers between Mexico and Memorial Park. Hit it all over the place. Go find it. Hit it again. Think about the guys who've had success at both of those places. Tony Finau, right? This is, Farmers, Mexico, like the places that are as I love this spot for him. I love this spot for him. The problem is he's really not going to model well at all. Because if you go, his entire year, he's got a win, a third, a fourth, but he's got a missed cut at the American Express where he lost 14 strokes to the field. He also has, then if you want to go more recent than that, he's got the, 2 rounds at API where one of them he lost 5.5 strokes to the field and the other he lost 8. Still made the cut somehow. Same thing here. He loses 4 strokes at the Players Championship in the final. It's just like, this guy's not going to model well unless you only do driving distance and upside or something like that. But I think that this is a pretty fair place to run him out and see what you can get out of him. And then just as the official, Doug Gim tracking season, the streak of 5 straight top 20s has been cracked, but he made the cut at Valspar. He gained a tiny bit each of the first 3 days, and then he gave up, 3.6 strokes to the field on Sunday. I don't think that this is a great spot for him, right? We want to put him in places that accuracy matters a little bit more, but I would have said that in Mexico as well, where he finished T8. If you like that Mexico crossover, which I kind of do, if you like the Farmers crossover, which again, massive differences, but just the ability, like, I shouldn't even say that because the rough is a lot thicker at Torrey Pines, but like I'm talking about distance guys, bigger ballparks, whatever. Places that I don't think Doug Gim should have played well, and he did, then I can't write him off for this one either. The 7K range. Okay. If Bo Hostler is the slate breaker of the 8K range, KH Lee is probably the slate breaker in the 7K range because he is capable, and we see it somewhat routinely, of snapping off and finishing 10th. Snapping off and winning. Snapping off and having the round of the day. Goes T4 at the Cognizant. Misses the cut at the Players in ugly fashion. T9 at the Valspar, which included, I think it was Friday, he shot like the round of the day. 4.8 strokes to the field. Maybe it was the second best round. He's just capable of doing that, right? And now, when he's a very streaky golfer. Right? He missed 3 cuts in a row to start you kind of want to catch him in these streaks, and you might be able to catch him in one of these. I would not be surprised to see him win. I would not be surprised to see him miss the cut either. I probably should start taking Mackenzie Hughes a little bit more seriously, and I hate that because it feels like now I'm chasing what was a really good finish. And honestly, I thought he had a very good chance and maybe should have won the Valspar last week. He ended up finishing T3rd. There's so much I don't like about this profile. He gained 9 strokes putting last week, but he's a very good putter. He had lost 5 in a row prior to that with the flat stick, but he still found a way to finish inside the top 30 in 3 of those. So now he has 3 straight top 30s. 2 of them were at signature events. His short game is very, very good, which if you like the model, great. The putter is going to be important if you like the model, and he's one of the better putters. But this is a terrifying profile to try to invest in and say he's going to be able to do this again. His history around here is awesome. He's played here 3 times, 7th, 29th, and 16th. So I guess I'm chasing. I guess I'm chasing with Mackenzie Hughes, and I don't know how he's going to do it because there's no rhyme or reason to the stat profile. The hope is that, like he's done 4 out of his last 5 starts, he just finds a way to do it. I don't know how, but the hope is that he does find a way. Can we deep dive Cameron Davis for a second? Because this should be such a good spot for him. Should be such a good spot for him. Oh my gosh. The Players was ugly. Lost 7 strokes off the tee, another 5 with the putter, another 5 on approach. Yikes. Finished T18 at Bay Hill despite losing strokes off the tee. That's exciting. Stunk at Riviera. He was pretty good at Pebble Beach. Oh, it's all over the place. It is just all over the yard. I mean, I'm a sucker for this guy, and I'll be interested to see what the ownership is. Has he played this event? I mean, this on paper. Oh man, he's been horrible. 68th and a missed cut. Although the only thing he can't do at this event, both at Golf Club of Houston and Memorial Park, is putt. He's putted better since then. Wow, that is a dart. I'll throw a dart. I'll throw a dart on Cam Davis. He's kind of like one of the guys that I like to get in with, especially on golf courses like this. Noteworthy that Andrew Novak, right back to what we wanted to see. Right, we gave Andrew Novak the once go around, saying, okay, are you going to be able to bounce back from a ugly miscut at the Players Championship and get back to what you were doing prior to that? And he answered the bell and said, yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So now he's got 4 top 17 finishes in his last 5 with very good approach numbers. I mean, very good numbers throughout the bag. Just the Players Championship, which gets everybody. Okay. So this is such a good spot. $6,900 Andrew Novak. Kind of criminal in this field. He was 7,000 in Mexico. Again, if you like that crossover to Mexico, really like the way that he responded. He responded there. This is I would normally say it's a Bramlett, Pendrith, Cam Champ week. But Pendrith has been so bad. It's hard to even get back to that spot. Cam Champ and Joseph Bramlett are laying a little bit of the breadcrumbs for us. So here's Bramlett. Pull up his stat profile. Gained 3 strokes on approach last week at the Valspar. He didn't putt well the last 2 starts in Florida, but before that he was putting it together a little bit better. And we know he's one of the longest and kind of just most prolific drivers. And then Cam Champ is giving us a little nugget. He's given us a little nugget here of hope. T26 at the Valspar, 3 strokes off the tee. I hate the fact that he lost 5 strokes around the green. He's not great around the green, but that is horrific. He has now gained 5 or more strokes putting in 2 of his last 3 measured starts. These are good dart throws. Bramlett is 6,600. Finished 9th here last year. Cam Champ is 6,400. Should be a decent fit for him. I don't mind spending there. Routinely the most mispriced golfer in the field is Dylan Wu. I don't know why. I mean, not that he should be $9,000, but he is routinely $1,000 too cheap. And I think he is again this week. He is 6,100. So we are getting down there. He's got 3 top 26 finishes in his last 4. Finished top 20 at the Players and 26th at Valspar. He routinely loses off the tee and picks it up everywhere else. I mean, the game is pretty good. And much improved on what he was doing last year. Accurate off the tee, not very long. It's a little bit worrisome. Club head speed's not great. Good putter. I don't think it's a great spot for him, but I do think that for $6,100, it's too cheap. The 5K range. Okay. I want to see a $5,800 Hayden Buckley. Is he turning a corner? Is he plugging a very stinky game? Kind of. Played 3 times in Florida. Drove it better at Cognizant and stunk everywhere else. Drove it well and hit it well and putted it well at the Players, but gave up 5.8 around the green. Fixed that at the Valspar, gained 2.6, but lost with the putter, which is something he, has basically been a 0 or a positive putter for the 5 starts before that. He's a great, great driver. If the rest of his game is getting better, which I think there's like a Tetris style look to this, isn't there? Where it's just like these blocks, he's just making more of these blocks green than red. That would be very interesting to me. Incredibly talented. I mean, he's far off from this stretch here that we saw in basically this time last year. This time last year, he was just peak. A lead off the tee, putting together good finishes, struggled into the summer. Is he turning the corner? Can we get a little biometrics, right? This guy, he loves March and April. This is when this is where he gets it going. His, Mercury's in retrograde and I don't know. I hope, because that's what the stat profile starts to look like. Parker Cootie just continues to make cuts, which at $5,700 is usually enough. Continues to make cuts there. I just want to sort by the best player in this range here. Wilson Furr. Let's go see what. Did I call him Wilson? Oh, I've got him here as William Furr. Is that the same guy? Yeah. Okay. Is this him? Wilson Furr. Yeah, he played the Valspar. Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, I only have a couple of rounds on him here. So I have him in the Valspar, I have Puerto Rico, Mexico, and Farmers was much. Okay, that's why he's showing up. He's getting a lot of the end of his Corn Ferry stuff last year was really good. It has not translated to the PGA Tour. Who else do we have? Padraig Harrington. Patty just won on the senior tour. Won the Hogue, Newport Beach Country Club. Not sure the game is going to translate, but he's crushing the Champions Tour. Let's see what else we got. Anybody who plays on the PGA Tour full time? Mac Meisner. Is his name McClure? Does he go by Mac? Yeah, wow. I'm learning a lot about these guys right now. Okay, this is much better. So now he's played 6 times on the PGA Tour this year. He missed his first 3 cuts despite not having horrible stat profiles. His American Express profile was pretty good. And now it looks like a golfer who's starting to get his feet underneath him. 53rd at the Cognizant, 23rd at Puerto Rico, 26th at the Valspar. And his Valspar stat profile was positive throughout the bag. He is $5,500. Bridgman, we've talked about. He's coming off a missed cut at Valspar. Who else? Rico Hoey? 57. Well, let's go cheaper. We got to get like somebody in the. So Padraig's 55. Martin Trainer. He just played somewhere. Where did he just play? Live qualifying, I think. I shouldn't say just played. That was in January, I think. He's 5,300. He finished 19th in Mexico. Let's pull up his stat profile. Martin Trainer. He obviously did not win the Live Golf promotion because he's not on Live. So there's that. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is what I saw. He played in Macau last week or 2 weeks ago on the Asian Tour and finished 5th. Oh, and he played. Okay. Whoa. Have we found the diamond in the rough? Have we found the diamond in the rough in the 5K range. This is why you should subscribe to RickRunGood.com. 6 tours I track. So if you're just looking at PGA Tour stuff, you have missed a lot of Martin Traynor this year. So his last 5 starts, T8 on the Corn Ferry, that was in Chile, T19 in Mexico, PGA Tour, T5 in Argentina, missed cut in Puerto Rico. This dude's been all over the world. 5th in Macau in his most recent start. So he has, in 2 of his last 3 starts, gained 10 strokes to the field. In 4 of his last 5 starts, he has gained at least 5.5 strokes to the field. Did we just uncover the diamond in the rough that is one Martin Traynor? I mean, I'm just impressed that you can go all over the globe like that and play well. He is $5,300. He did not play this event last year. He played it the year before. 5th. Come on. Are we just starting our lineups? Scotty Scheffler, Martin Traynor. We might be. Let's run the model. Custom model, RickRunGood.com. Put your weights anywhere you want. Okay. I'm going to just try to be a little basic here. So we are going to do weighted strokes gained total last 50 rounds for 25. And that'll be our baseline. Again, it's kind of a weaker field once you get past some things. I'm going to do driving distance for 15. And I'll put driving accuracy at 5. Like I don't care, but we'll do 20 on driving. Approach play. Let's do they're large greens. Do I want to do opportunities? Opportunities plus gain, strokes gained approach. Let's do strokes gained approach. I almost caught myself I was like, oh, I'll do it simple. And then I was going to dive into 900 different things. Strokes gained approach last 12. We rarely do 12. Give me flushers for 20. If we think the model is right, it does like the around the green play. So let's go around the green last 36 for 20 for 15. And we'll do putting for another 15. Strokes gained putting last. Let's do the last 12. Just hot guys. And then we'll do course history, but it's only going to be worth 5. Number 1 golfer, Scotty Scheffler. Yeah, shock. Wyndham Clark, number 2, shock. How about a real shock for number 3? Mackenzie Hughes. Short game, approach, putting. Long enough, 61st in distance. Sahith is 4th, yes sir. Finau, Day, Siwoo, Jaeger. Zalatoris gets knocked down to 9th. Alex Noren is 10th. Couple of guys that stand out relative to their pricing. Really the next handful. Davis Thompson, Luke List, Taylor Moore, Ben Griffin are 12 through 15. Pendrith, yeah, he does get a big boost here, but his recent stuff stinks. I've napped 24th. Again, he's not going to, he does not model well, and he's 24th. God, that's going to be fun. Okay, well, listen, we'll dive into this on Wednesday. We'll do the live chat, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We'll do it for as long as you need. We have this event. We have the Texas Open. Then I'm headed to the Masters, which I cannot wait. So I'll be your boots on the ground. I don't know how much I'll be able to share in the moment because we're not allowed to have phones or anything, but I'm very much looking forward to it. And let's ride. This is going to be awesome. I'll talk to you guys soon.